Hello everyone, this is XerStudios, and welcome back to the Workplace 2 game development live streams. So I was planning to do something a little different today. I was building an operating system, which would be an Easter egg that you can find in the game files. It's supposed to go with the whole meta element type of stuff, and because technically in a Dark Place 2, reality system is sort of like this forbidden OS that the game is running on. So I was creating it as an actual operating system as an Easter egg, pretty much. And I will show that soon, but first, kind of just want to demonstrate some stuff that I have done, because I haven't done a game development live stream in a long time, so I apologize for that. Because I was busy with all the other stuff, of course. So, you know. But I have been working on the game on the side, and I have gotten some stuff done as well. So I'm gonna show you guys really quick what I have done so far. Alright, comment. I absolutely love the original game. I was not expecting this at all. Glad to hear it, man. Alright, so the map that I have updated is called Intro. So here's, well, actually, it's this one. Alright, so here we go. How you guys doing today? I'm doing pretty well so far. For my G Fuel, I actually got a different type. Strawberry instead of spicy lemonade. And it is absolutely delicious with milk. Captain Bilber had goosebumps playing part 1, so excited for this one. Awesome. I was building an operating system, Windows Nightmare Edition confirmed. Indeed. So with this level that appears in the demo, I have added some trees in the back, because I saw some videos on the gameplay, and I noticed that people were like, oh yeah, well it's kind of empty outside, so I just added some trees. And over on this side, here, there's even more trees. Look at that. Awesome, feeling good, man. Awesome. How's my mic doing? I didn't really have much time testing it, but I want to make sure that it's working just fine. I think it is working just fine with no issue. So pause menu. If you guys see my Discord channel, I kind of posted a little teaser image of this. Not much you could do with it yet. I'm still working on it, but it slows down the game. It's pretty cool because it's all physics based. So you can like throw this up in the air, and look at that. I love how the inventory slides in. I do like do a lot of little detail type of stuff, especially in this one. I always have like these little details like that. Because I know in my previous games I didn't really have that as much. It was just kind of like it slides in. Like this is all a reference to my older game called My Place Inventory, except the inventory used to slide up all completely connected. So it is pretty cool how it does that. Anyway, I don't think I have done anything else much with this map though, because I'm busy with other stuff and all that. I haven't really worked on the game in a while, mainly because of my operating system that I'm creating, which is also something that I teased in the Discord channel as well. Let me see. Let me just think. Not sure if I showed much of one of my other maps that I've been working on. I have showed it in my previous streams, but I didn't really show a whole lot of it. There's just some of it. Also, I was going to learn programming. I'm going to learn if laziness doesn't distract me like it always does, and I'm a fan of Terror of the Android again. Awesome. That's fine. Alright, so the map is called reality system again. Reality system begins to. I think it's this one. Reality system remake, and it's sort of like a 8-bit, not 8-bit, but DOS, 3D and DOS type of style. Not really with this resolution. It's really like this, and then it zooms in. So I actually do have a sort of like a backup. So let me just uh, move my. There we go. So now you can see it because I have built it. So this is sort of like what I'm demonstrating for the operating system. Nice lighting, thank you. So this is the whole DOS inside the game type of thing, and it runs inside like a little window like this. You can type stuff like /help. But the unique thing is this was created so that I can actually recreate this as an actual operating system. So you can find it in the game files. It'd be like an ISO file that's bootable. You can put it inside a virtual machine. And in fact, you can even boot it on an actual real hardware, which I would show that pretty soon. But first, we could show 3D, some basic 3D test basic that app. And then it's like this. And there's no sounds because it's sort of like you're missing drivers. You need to install them manually. So you have to manually install those. So this is outputting a passcode, and I was not paying attention at all. So, I think it's like 7428 or something. The passcode is for another file. So just type in directory, then health demo. Yeah, 7428 or something. No, that. And this cube, so hyped now. Yep, this is actually the very beginning of the game. It starts off very basic like this, where it's kind of like you have to build the game type of thing. You have to build it up. Because the game changes every time you play, or the more you play, the more it changes. Because it's supposed to be like a like it's self-aware type of thing where it can like learn from what you do, and then it like builds itself based on what you did. That's basically the whole concept of this game compared to the original and Dark Place. It's kind of like My Place and Dark Place together type of thing for the sequel. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And for the actual operating system I'm talking about, I actually have it running on an actual computer. So if I switch to programming mode, you guys could see it in a little window, and this is the window. This is the actual operating system running on actual hardware, and you guys could see the similarities as well. And this is for the whole meta element. This is what it's created for being as realistic as possible. And it's going to have graphics. I have done some graphics, and I'm able to show you guys just by pressing the spacebar right here. So even though that looks a little scary, it's kind of like using a very basic VGA driver. So it kind of just has to like do that, the canvas. But it's kind of like a slideshow of images for now. I know it's Windows, but it's for testing the resolution and all the desktop features. And also the colors, because the colors are off. It only supports a certain palette, which would be like 256 colors. So if any colors is higher than that on an image, it wouldn't appear right. It would just kind of like with the blue you guys can see. It's supposed to be a darker gray, but it's actually just blue. For now. And this is actually all programmed in C#, believe it or not. And this is using the Cosmos API, which is really, really useful, but it can also be very tedious to work with sometimes, because sometimes it doesn't work all the time. It like has a lot of bugs that you have to kind of figure out. You have to build the video drivers yourself. That's another thing. Audio drivers, I haven't really done that yet at all because it's kind of complicated. You have to do some stuff in assembly, which is how operating systems are made in the first place. But it does use the PC speaker to do the sounds. But this copy of operating system doesn't have that on the thing. But I do have VMware, so I can actually just simply program that in really quick, and we can just hear like a little beep type of thing. So let me just go ahead and go to programming. There we go. So now it's in the little window. You can see the code. This is the code of the operating system itself. All in C#. For the images, for those to work, it uses base64, which is how you can put files inside of code. And it's just, this is binary, I think. This is like hexadecimal type stuff. And then on the side here is the actual base64 itself, which is the entire image. If I zoom out, all of this is the image. And there's about 5 images. Yeah, very, very complex stuff. Now, you guys probably wouldn't expect me to just type all this out. Of course not. I had to put this in separate variables in order for this to actually work. Because if you put all this all in one, you get an error during compiling because it overloads the service. It overloads the process pretty much. All right, so now the PC speaker will actually have VMware back. I'm gonna open that up really quick. All right, and then let me just switch my screen real quick. All right, here we go. This is VMware. The Cosmos thing that it created doesn't work anymore because it kind of glitched out. So I had to create my own virtual machine, which would be this. It's technically a Linux, but it uses that as the bootloader. So you don't really need much RAM. You don't need much processors. Even go up to like 6. Like my processor has like 24 threads and 8. Well, 12 cores actually. I only use 1 just to test the speed. I'll change the fonts a little bit too from the original because the driver supports it, so it's really, really useful. And this is what was shown on the laptop. Same thing. Just with the laptop, I booted it up on a USB, and it works perfectly from there. And where you have to manually boot it, it doesn't just do it automatically. You have to like go to the BIOS and then change your boot settings and stuff. But no one really needs to do that unless we want to, because it perfectly works in VMware. In fact, it's actually going to be preferred because the drivers are more supported in VMware, so I can actually have better video. Like this actually supports 32 bits of color, well on the laptop it only supports 8. So there's a big difference there. Even though that the wallpaper here is very, very like low color and differed. That's just how the image was put into the code, and I can change that for VMware to work perfectly. Just I would have to like tweak some settings for each machine to get that to work right. But yeah, it's Windows, but mainly for testing. So this is technically the Windows here, the actual Windows. And no, it's actually Windows 2000. It's just got the boot disks in, so I'm going to take those out like so. Here we go. Actually, oh yeah, it's the floppy. Forgot about that. Very old, but I used it for kind of visualizing what an old system would be like. Since it's kind of like a reference to the very beginning of the operating system before it like builds itself up. It's going to be sort of like old type of tech. And basically that's all it can work with, either because of the drivers and everything. I do plan on making the mouse supported, so you can like move the mouse. Oh yeah, you guys can't see the mouse on the screen. That's because of the cat frame. So I can actually switch the modes here to like game mode or something, and that should work, I believe. Yeah, optimize for games. Automatic grab. Right, okay. So let's set this to always. There we go. So here we go. This is for the screenshots. This is what I use for the screenshots. Um, yeah, it's still Windows. Windows 2000. All right. So now I'm just gonna go back to the code, just like so. And what I plan to do, hold on, is it capturing? Yeah, it is. What I plan to do with this whole operating system thing is kind of like make a cursed operating system. So like something that's kind of like got its own puzzles and stuff. Something that's got like interesting lore, like secrets in it. Because technically it is an Easter egg. It's just an optional thing. You don't really need to have a VM virtual machine to actually use it. Like, well, you don't actually have to load it up for anything. It's just if you want to, it'd just be there. Um, but yeah. So I think what I have to do uh, is the text speed is kind of slow. Alright, here's this. It's the old screensavers. I was looking at those when I first loaded it up, 'cause I was curious about what it was like. Um, so the text speed compared to the actual game is very slow, and that's just because of how it's made. So I would have to like change that up a little bit. So here's this, and then if we compare to the game, just by loading it up like this, nice pipe screensaver indeed. So this is the game that kind of like simulates the operating system. You see how it's much faster? I actually think that's because of my frame rates being out of 144. Uh, since that's what it's capped at, it makes the speed of the text go faster than 60. But that's just typically just how it is. I don't even know if there's a way to like make it go faster because it's actually at the lowest milliseconds, um, which would be 50 milliseconds for each of these. I believe even for these too, because this is all in milliseconds, the time thing. So yeah, and I made like a little function here. So it's set at 0 actually. So I guess it's all just based on it's like a cap speed, I guess. So there might not be actually anything I can do about that, but I could just alter the game's code and make it go slower from there, and I probably have to anyways. This is like MS-DOS version nightmare. Indeed, it is kind of cursed, but not yet, because didn't really make the curse parts yet. Since I was still figuring out the audio and stuff. But the cool thing is that it actually shuts down instantly. So it can have like a little jump scare and it can like shut down like immediately. Like that would be pretty cool, I would say. Because I can put images of Nightmare and scope spook. Choose spook. Um but yeah, I think it is pretty unique though. I don't think any game has ever done something like this before. This is kind of like the first time that a metagame has used an actual operating system as kind of like a scare tactic, pretty much. Kind of just goes with the experience. Uh, to truly bring the realism of the game itself, make it feel more uh, like more surprising and all that. But also, I plan since the ISO file, which is the operating system itself, since that's going to be in the game's files, I can just have the game like auto detect if it's still there, and if it's not, it can say, "Oh yeah, I can't play the game because it can't boot into the operating system." So that would also bring realism as well, because it's like, oh, the game has to rely on this operating system file, sort of like an actual program would have to do. Even though you could just use if statements and file programs, but detect if the file's there or not. It is pretty simple. It's simpler than it sounds. But yeah, that's about it. Um, so this is the whole 3D DOS thing. This is when you do type in the code right for the passcode part where it's locked. And then this just sort of loads up the playtest going on. Get the audio working. Turn that down a little bit. Like so. Captain Blurber? Yeah, your games are pretty experimental, but everyone loves that. Yeah, and I love the whole idea of it as well. I think it's actually very unique, very interesting to work on. Zoom this in a little bit. Okay, there we go. So the whole hand's there as like a little image. And the game would actually, well, since it's a game in the game, it would crash if you go here, saying that you need video drivers or audio drivers. So it teleported me over there because I'm still working on it. This area isn't finished yet at all. In fact, the music is actually supposed to be different for this. It doesn't auto-change. Gonna have like little doors here, so that there's rooms that you can go in. And the clock's gonna move. This is gonna lead to like a basement area. And then this door is the only working door. Still need to work on door sounds. It's the outside area. There's actually reflections as well that I implemented. And yeah. Still working on the inventory. That's why it's a little cut off, because I plan on actually remaking it so that it's kind of like old style of inventory. But yeah, that's about it for this level part so far. The music, though off, so creepy instant fear. Yeah. Alright, so for the whole text speed thing, you can actually, let me turn this, because this entire level is actually just a game object in Unity, so I can just like turn it off, and then it automatically just goes to this. And with this, you can actually manipulate the code so that the text speed is different. I'm gonna do that really quick. I think it's like this one. I believe this is probably the one that's it. I don't think I have a speed. Scroll multiplier. It might be, I don't think it's that. It's an exact value so that it calculates perfectly right. I think this is it. This right here. So we're just gonna check the code. And it opened up on my reminder, so I have to wait for it to load and then I can drag it over. Preparing solution. Okay, here we go. Now drag it over. Alright, so this is pretty much the code for that text speed thing. And it also flashes the cursor, so it has to do that as well. And oh yeah, so this also includes the console commands as well, which we would be remaking in the actual operating system. We're going to have the exact same type of commands that you can use. Since this is all simulated, the actual operating system's all just real. It should work in a very similar way as well. It has to be programmed a little bit different, but that's about it. So got command lists. These are all like little outputs that it like shows the little text. Then based on whatever you type in, which would be this, and based on whatever boolean. So this is technically like if the code isn't locked or isn't like unlocked, the code's still not typed in. It would show the message to unlock the admin, but if you do unlock it, it turns the variable on. So like all that, and then it loads it up like that. So for the speed, it would be, I think, above. And yeah, this is the interval. 60 divided by speed. Speed is the public variable. I believe it's like up here. This is the number that you type in. And this, when it's set to equals like this means it's the default value. This would be as well. When it's private, it does not show in an inspector. The inspector is this right here. This allows you to like edit the stuff in your code, even in real time as well, while the game is running. These are like little things you set, like other game objects. You could do that. Turn them off and on. Don't know what this is. That's the entire name of it. Probably something I was working on, but I completely forgot. Then escape. This is if you press escape, it would automatically just rewrite all the text on the screen. Gotta go now. Need to get some things done for tomorrow. Wish all of you a nice evening and keep up your inspiration work, sir. Bye bye. All right. See ya. Nice talk. All right. So for text speed, I guess you can just change this to like 400, and it'd be different. I believe. Even these have limits as well. They only go so fast. We don't go so slow. So we're gonna try that out. We're just gonna try 400 and see if it's similar to the actual operating system itself. Um, yeah, that is close. Change it while it's running. So like probably 1,000, probably 2,000. I'm not sure if it is like this. So it doesn't appear to be editing in real time. I think what I could have done is just turn this off and on. It resets the entire thing. Could you imagine Xer makes an actual hardware? Ah, yes, indeed. The Nightmare Phone, the greatest invention of all. Spooks you every time you use it. Anyway, let's check some things real quick. All right. So this is a little faster. In fact, that might be pretty accurate. So we'll see how accurate that is. I think this is just a tad, a little bit faster. Just based on how it writes everything. I did want to make this animated when it shows up, kind of like how it actually does it. That would be a little complex, but I think it is possible. It's just I have to like set everything in an array, which would be everything in all in one, and then just sort of like write it out, and then go up and down. Like you have to do a lot of cursor manipulation for that to work. But it would be pretty cool to have that in. So if you do try and type, it doesn't work right now. It just loads the graphics instead. So still have to work on that. But this, it works perfectly fine. Since I made this before I made anything else. Before I made the actual operating system. So I'm gonna try setting this to a higher value. Because I think it is a little bit faster. Does seem like it. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's loading up right now. Here we go. So now it loads a little bit faster as well. I have to tweak this a lot. All right. Okay, so let's see here. So yeah, this is how it writes out all the text and everything. It pretty much just takes the output, or the input actually, string input, and then it puts it into like a little array list. It loops through all of this, and then it just pretty much for the entire length of the text itself, it outputs it like so. All right. And so, oh wait, the Nightmare VCR, that would be perfect. Indeed. Domenico, the Absolute Casual, hello, sir. Hello. How you doing? All right, so now what I want to do is, I guess we can figure out a way to animate the head when it pops in, because right now it's just instant. It's just what it is so far. Yeah, like that. Just all right. So if I use the same method for kind of like this, the text, how it outputs like that, the head, I think it'd be kind of too slow. Um, which is why there might be a way to sort of like spread it out. Might have to do it like completely different. But sometimes when you try to do things that are timed kind of in this, it does it instantly anyways. It just takes a second to like load. So that's the only sucky part. So I wonder if there's a way to like work around that. Um, so this is how the entire SKO art is written out. Because the way I put it in is this is the actual head as the text format. You see how it's like ordered wrong? It's just all in one line. You have to define it manually, like do here. I believe this is possibly the height and the width. I think it's supposed to be like 50-50, actually. I mean, hover over it tells you. Width per line, X and Y. So left and right, up and down, the color that you want, and then the reset cursor if you want to like reset the cursor so that it has a better color. Oh wait, also it puts the cursor back at the very top so you can write over it over the screen. Because if I didn't have that, then all of the text, all this text would be like under here, and it would start like that, and then the cursor would be like here. That's how that works. You have to like change the cursor back to like write it over. Sort of like if this was like a background. So that's how that works. If we go back into the thing here, you should be able to see um ways of making this like animated. Because it all does it all in one already, so we just have to see which which methods we got for this type of thing. So this is where it starts off. So I have to look at this really quick to see how it works. B equals 0, so I guess this is for spaces, I guess. I think this is for aligning the cursor so that it can like write down in a specific spot. But the Z is for spaces. So I guess that's for oh yeah, that's for the right side. So if you want to make it more on the right side, you just you put in the number. Okay, so X space equals okay. So based on Z, so that would be it'd be one of these. Oh, it'd be X. So the more X is, the more spaces there would be for the right hand side. So it would just move the entire skill art to a different spot. And then this is for the up and down type of thing, using this. Just adds a new line, so it does this. That's how that works. Anyways, so this is how it outputs the text. Just go text at substring. So this is a string, this is substring, so it takes like it copies a certain spot, which would be current width. That would be the beginning, and then this would be the end. So just well, I think doesn't this loop? Yeah, so this has to change every time. So it just goes up and up and up. So it gets all of the text. Um yeah. And that's how it aligns the width and height perfectly as well. Um Making this animated though. In fact we can try something out here. Where's that yeah, here's this. It's a global command in the operating system for the wait time thing. So we need to do is this, I guess. I'm not sure if this would work because this has to keep doing its thing every time. I think this does freeze the system though, so it might work. Because all we can do is try it out, I guess, as it writes it out. All this is done before all of this, I think. That's why it's also put on the bottom of all this. So now we are building the operating system. It automatically compiles as an ISO file, which is very, very convenient. No need to use any assembly or anything. You even got the source code for like the actual bare bones of the system as well to something on my desktop. I think it's don't know if it's this. No, it's not. All right. So this does take a bit of time. Even the in live streaming probably makes it take a little bit more time. Usually about like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Which isn't too bad. Let's see the progress of this. Alright, there we go. So even though that looks spooky and very scary, it's not. This just actually means that it works. It's very it's actually a glitch in the source code itself, where it tries to open up the path for it where it outputs, but it puts in the wrong one, so you have to manually put it in. But since I already have it in the system already, uh it just loads up the same file. The updated one. So I don't really have to do anything else. So now we're going to see what it does. Oh, that actually was perfect. Holy crap. That's surprising because it was a lot quicker than I imagined. Ha ha ha. We figured out the solution instantly. Look at that. Um, alright, cool. Um, if we were to like do it sort of like width and height based, where it like starts here, then this starts, and then this starts, and this goes up, and this goes up. I think that is possible. It kind of would like simulate what this does, where like it goes up. You would see it after I press play here after it loads in. Like this. but do text, you can just have one entire line output, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. Kind of like to simulate that effect, because I think that would work. Because you can only do so much with a low resolution, and with text even you can't really do too much with that. But it does make it a lot more cool, a lot more awesome. Um. So yeah. Anyway, for putting this on the USB drive, to do that, I actually have the USB stick inside the computer right now. So go ahead and there we go. Alright, this is a computer. So I believe it is safe to take this out. Wonder because I think it's all in memory. Yeah, it seems to be all in memory. Which is why if there's like over 100 images loaded at once, you need a lot of it. Like enough, at least enough RAM for it to even work. Does it even register to? Yeah, okay. Nice. So now I got the USB stick inside my computer now. The actual one. Not the actual one, the other one, the one I'm using right now. Let me just go ahead and do this. Let me open up my program. Uh, where is it? Oh, Rufus. That's what it's called. All right. So you have to like reformat the USB stick. So this Rufus right here is how I copy the operating system onto the USB. So you select the file like this. So this is the file that we need. You can set a partition size, but the more you set this up, the much longer it takes. It takes a long time. Setting this to 0 takes little to no time at all, actually. You want to keep all this default. Don't really need to change any of this. The file system, FAT32 is what it needs, actually. That's what it runs off of, so you just have it at its default. You could change the volume label to whatever. I just have it to what it gave me. Doesn't really matter, but you could just click start. I'll give you a little warning here. So you always want to make sure it's the right USB stick, because it could be something else that sometimes can trick you, which wouldn't be good. So yeah. So it deletes the partitions, it relights it, and it does create its own file system and everything. So this is the whole process of putting it on the USB drive. Copies the little files over, and there we go, it's done. Look at that. Pretty much done instantly. Little to no time at all, because I think the operating system itself isn't really that much in space. If I can go check. It is just 27 megabytes. I think it's because all those images are in one. I think that's why. And it is possible to have like a actual read and write system in this operating system. There's a way to like write files and save files and stuff like that. I haven't done that because you would actually have to reformat your entire C drive to get that to work. So that's not really something that we could do, but it is it runs in memory, so you can have files saved in memory instead of the local C drive. Nathan Suron, hey, what up? So now, once you get the ISO inside of here, you just want to click eject. Actually, this is what the files look like, and the actual operating system is this right here. It's a bin file, and when you load it up, it's just a bunch of bleh. It's not really readable at all, but doesn't have to be because it just has to work. So eject. And now I'm going to get my screen running. So now, here we go. Let's put this in. Press Control Delete to reboot the entire machine. For this PC, you have to press the F12 key. Also, Cloud IDE is a program you're using for the backgrounds, right? Yeah, yeah, it is. It is what I'm using. All right, so the number one, the thing that's always selected on is what it is. So you press enter, and here we go. This is on actual hardware now. And look at that, it writes just like how we animated it. It's just that text speed that I'm not sure about. But since I figured out a way to loop, uh, like every second, I could probably make that go faster using the same solution that I used for the skill text. Alright, so you can actually try that out on the code itself. So let me just go ahead, do this. So since this solution seems to work perfectly for the head, live chat, you spelled it wrong. Where's that? Oh, I see, I see. I see what you mean. Anyway, so having it in a loop and doing this seems to make it go a lot faster than I have ever thought. Because the way I did it originally was, let me see actually. Oh yeah, I think, it seems like I do use the same solution though for this, putting it as a loop, or inside the loop actually, like this. Alright, so it is the same solution though. It's just odd how it's slower. Anyway, let me see here. Now, if you didn't have this at all, it would have just outputted instantly. It wouldn't actually write it out if you would want it to. So, I wonder if there's a fixed speed for. Okay, doesn't seem. Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like there is a fixed speed. Because it actually went to another loop first, then it worked. So, I wonder if I can just do an empty loop that doesn't really do anything. See if that speeds it up. Because sometimes little hacks you can do, hacky ways to get things to work, do work. Just it's tedious to figure out sometimes. Um, so this isn't used at all. I should use this instead of putting it here. Go and just take this out. I think it is the same solution as well. So just put it in right here. I also spelled the wrong word too, but whatever. Indeed. Alright, so now we got that. Just want to switch over this to this right here. Save, build, test that out. Now there is actually a way to boot the actual operating system or the actual hardware with an Ethernet cable. So you can actually like kind of like connect an Ethernet cable to the laptop to your host computer, which would be what I'm using right now, and in the system, or I think in the code somewhere, it automatically like puts it on there, uh, which would be very helpful. It'd be network loop. I think this is what it is. Creates a PXE setup and hosts a DHCP and TCP server deployed directly to physical hardware. Allows debugging with a serial cable. So yeah, serial cable is what you would need. Um, a virtual machine should work just fine though. Like so, because it's all the same. Sometimes it's not the same, sometimes it's different. I know I have compatibility issues with another machine in this room where it wouldn't actually work. So I had to create like kind of like a blue screen, which is actually just a red screen of death. That happens when the hardware is not compatible. So I think that worked just fine. Oh yeah, all right, I'm switch the screen over. Here we go. So now, just do this. So for the red screen of death thing, I don't know if it would actually work, but I'm just going to try it. It happens with if you don't have enough RAM, so like 64 megabytes, which nobody's going to have that nowadays. Sometimes it would just freeze. Sometimes it would show up, but I think I need a little bit more RAM to actually show it. Just a little more, not much. CPU's been disabled. And here it is. This is the little red screen of death I made. Oh, it's even got the fonts too. That's nice. Very cool. Windows, your hardware sucks. Reality system, you better fix your hardware or else we will kill you. Indeed. So you would actually have to hold the power to shut down, since keyboard drivers are disabled, mouse drivers are too, and yeah, pretty much that's about it for this whole screen. And this, I actually do have an image of this on the computer that was not compatible. I'm going to try and find it really quick. So I do have it somewhere. I might have. It's on Discord, so I have to look for it just by scrolling. Just a second. Alright, here it is. I'm gonna fix that zoom. Alright. So here it is on actual hardware. The font is different because this is an older version of the system. I think the fonts would work anyways. It would load. I haven't really tested out on actual hardware though. So you never know because there can be little incompatible things that just don't work. And yeah, uh, that's for that. Pretty much. Alright, so now just bump this back up. Alright, code. There we go. So since it's set to animated, it does all the same things, so that's cool. The whole text thing where it goes in the bottom, goes to the top. I think I would need two loops for that to work. So I have to think this through. So it might be very complex. So this is the entire thing. Takes the lines per width. I would need the actual image itself. But I wonder if I have it on Notepad somewhere. Just really quick. So I might have this somewhere. got like a whole bunch of stuff open. So yeah, I do have it right here. I think this is it right here. And if you use a width scaler, uh, actually I think it showed me. You can count the amount of lines that goes this way for the resolution. So I think it'd be like a word counter, and it should say like 30 characters. So 30 on this side, and then for down, I think it would be the amount of lines that go down. It should be the same. 16 actually. I think that is fine though. Because that's like it's like 30 x 16. I think is the resolution. All right. So now we got those numbers. We can see. Yeah, I could show it. The inspiration thing. Like that, like that. Where these two start, the next line goes in, the other goes in. So it might be really complex though. Um, so we need to like since there's 16, I have to make sure put in on tabs. Yeah, 16. You want to divide that by 2 for 8, because 8 is going to be the starting value, which should be the center. I believe it should be the center. Yeah. I downloaded Clyde IDE and it's awesome. Awesome. All right. Back to the code. We have lines per width right here. And here. Okay. My so this is the substring right here. Plus equals width per line. Insert here, and width here is 0. So this is for oh, it's for this. Okay. So this is the actual value that changes. This doesn't change at all. This adds to this. So maybe I should just do 1/2 first to see how that works with the animated. Based on a mode, so we can have modes like integer mode. Mode would be like style, maybe any style, lowercase a, any style. Okay, equals 0. 0 would be the default. Okay, so now if we go back to the actual thing, the text here, I believe you would actually have to put the number in now. So like 1 or something. There we go. I think a 0 is fine, so. Well, actually, no, we can have 2. We already have 1, so we can add the other one, that. And then for the actual code of the loop, we go back to the animated, which would be here, and add an if statement here. These don't matter. So if any style equals 0. This technically means the same as equals. You can't do it like that because the code doesn't like that. It has to convert it, so just do that. Must equal 0. Those on the bottom don't really matter. This doesn't matter. So now, here it is. So now this would be left untouched. We would copy this over to our other node. So else if any style 1, instead, we would copy this, but we would change this to work the way we want it to. And I guess we could have it go reversed. Actually, that is a good idea. We can have it go reversed. Wonder if I don't think this is a thing. It actually might be a thing. Thing is, you have to actually have this set to lines per way for that to work. So it's a loop, but backwards. It's a reverse loop. So we could just have that. For I is like not used at all. Okay. That's odd. Well, I guess, okay. Maybe it just is like a counter for all the lines of, but it does have to equal this. So that technically wouldn't do anything. It probably just worked the same way if you do this roll, so we don't really need that. So we just have this set to 0. One thing though is the starting value, which should be 8. So maybe we have to have this set to 8 by default, and then we have to count up the amount of times that it was subtracted from as its limit. We actually have to like go back to 16. So 8, 8, see. Yeah. So we'd have to do it 8 more times till it is completed for one particular part. And let's see here. Because you do have to split the values of the image itself. Thing is though, is that if the resolution was different, this wouldn't work. That's a thing. But I guess we could do this for now, just for proof of concept. But then we can change it up to be compatible with another method that would work anyways. So current width plus equals width per line. You can have the subtract or whatever, but you actually have to have current width possibly plus 8 or something. So that it starts here, width per line. Wonder if you need to plus the 8 this as well. Not sure, but save this. Going back to the animation, seeing if it's set to 1. Yep. So I guess we can just see what this does. Because I'm not sure if it's just going to break. It might just break. So I'm not sure what it's going to do, so let's see. After it loads up here. Oh dang, thank you guys for the 10 likes. Appreciate it. I just refreshed the page. I thought it was still set to 2. Well, awesome. So how do you guys feel about the reality system so far, the operating system, as an actual operating system for the game? I'm curious to hear people's thoughts of this, the whole thing. Set the stream. There we go. Just so you can see that cool operating system going on. Yeah, I think it worked. It didn't really give me a little indicator, but I think it worked. So I think it's cool. The OS looks great. All right, awesome. Glad to hear that. That's good news for me. Alright. So this might just absolutely break. No, it just didn't do anything. It just did the same thing. Was the mode set right? What the heck? Because I don't know why that just, it wasn't set to 0, was it? Or is this just a default, no matter what? Well, let's just not have that set to 0 then. Because on the top, it was set to 1, right? I forget what was set to 1. Yeah, 1. So it should have done the other thing, but it didn't. It just went to the default. But that's okay, because it might have been because that was set to 0 from a function, so might have to build again. In fact, I'm overdoing it. Still building. Alright. I think it should be almost done. Just gotta do that building. Oh, what the heck is this? Network interface. Interface is unavailable. Waiting. So I don't know why, but it looks like it just set itself to networking mode. Oh god. Yep. We don't want that at all. That's probably why that message did not show up at all. Alright, so it's just going to keep doing that then. While I mess with this. You have to use this as well. That was a little oopsie on my part. Just had to set to that. Which, because these are technically modes. No, these are technically modes that you click on. Once you click on it, it just does whatever it wants. So I just want to keep it at ISO image. Only if the compiling was a little faster. But it is a full blown operating system, so it is understandable because it's a lot of stuff for it to process. In fact, the source code of the OS is actually a lot more. It takes about like 3 to 4 minutes to fully process. And this is on a pretty beefy machine too, so yeah, you know how that is. All right, so restarting the guest. Now it actually might blow up this time. Nope, yep, and it did blow up at the very end. That's the end of the fireworks there. That means that possibly the numbers are a little incorrect. It's strange how it just stops like that, though. Oh, I think I know why it did that. It's because it probably went past its array thing, like if it is an array. I totally forgot. So it probably, yeah. When you do the substring, if it tries to go past the number that it can't go past, then it would just break. So I don't know if flipping this would fix the potential problem. Well, it might actually. It might work. Because then you can have this set to. Well, what if I do this? What if I not that, but equals plus equals 8 for the starting value, then you can have minus equals for the other side, plus equals for the top side. So we're going to do topside first. This happens, and let's try that, I guess. And I'm gonna go get something real quick. Be right back. As this compiles, it should be done once I get back. Alright, guys, I'm back. Uh, and it's done compiling. Okay, here we go. Ugh. So now, test it out real quick. So yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to do, but let's see. Might be better, might be worse. And it's worse. So possibly, yeah, let's set this to 8. Might actually be because of this, too. Oh yeah, because it is a loop. Don't want to overdo the loops, so... Wonder what the array didn't really stop. Because this does plus equals 8. This does start... Well, this is a starting value. Oh, this changes. So let's just do this thing. See what that does. This shouldn't be hit every time. I should just go to this. Because we want it to, actually want to check this out. Length from the start index. Okay. Start index should be plus 8 then. But this should never change then. Because if the length would be after. And then you would have to go up the length. Because that's technically how the animation works, so this shouldn't change at all. This should just be a times 2 divided by try. Because I think to just do that, wouldn't you just get that 8 again? Yeah. So I guess for the actual value, you can just do with divided by 2. It should equal the same thing every time. Well, no, it won't, because it's in the loop. There we go. Don't know what that is. So, alright, this happens first. So it should just go to its starting value, then it should just end. But for the loops, I'm not sure about that either. Might have to change the cursor too, might have to move it. Compiling, 5 months later, still compiling, 20 months later, still compiling, 40 years later, still compiling. Yep. It be feeling like that though. So I equals 0. On with just gonna try it out. Now for the base 64, yeah, I just brought that out of nowhere, but for images and files and stuff, the way I did this for colors and for the picture is I used a bitmap image and I outputted it with 24 bits. Then I made a little program that converts images into base 64. So you can like open up an image. We'll just find one really quick. So like this photo right here. Or that actually that's upscaled. So this photo instead. Yeah. Well, it is a JPEG. So what you would need to do is you need to open up the photo editing software, and you need to save this. Just choose a. Okay, here we go. Oh shoot. All right. So this is the software right here. This is the little program I made. There. That's because I didn't choose a file. But yeah, this is the program that converts base64. Well, images to base64. Okay, there we go. So you choose the image, which would be a bitmap with 24 bits, and don't have one yet, so you would need to actually go here. You would load the image up. This would be the image, and actually let me make this a lower resolution real quick. 640 by 480. There we go. That way it's full screen. So bitmap, and then OS images, source, and then just whatever. It doesn't really matter with the name. And this is what's really important. You need to have 24 bits. Can't be 32. Also would crash the operating system. And this took me about a week to make, to figure out, because it's a very complex process, and you will see why very soon. Then we just load up the little program here and click Open File, and we choose the file, which should be this right here. And here it is. This is base64. Confusing, right? This is the entire image in a text format. And this is only 480p. And it's like 1,200 lines of code, of text. So for this multi-part thing that I made, this is for like variables because it has to create separate variables for this to work. If it did it all in one, like all this in one string variable, it would have crashed our operating system. So you need multiple variables, you need multiple strings for this to work. We would say 30,000 each, which would be 30,000 lines of text per variable. That's what that means. We try, sometimes it fails because the processor is being used up, and sometimes it gives the incorrect output. So it detects that and it restarts. And that might happen because I'm streaming, so my processor's busy with the stream type of thing. But let's see how this works. Oh, it actually works perfectly. So it created 41 variables in recurve 41 because it does a pre-calculation. It pre-calculates what it needs. And all this here, you see this public string. This is the actual the variables itself. And down here is another thing that you need to actually load the image up. So you say generate image equals a new bitmap. It creates a new one, converts it from the base64 string, and it adds up all the text, all the strings into one. So you can just click select all and copy. So it selected all of this. And now we can just go into the code. And we can go like down here. Base64 out. And you click paste. There we go. Press place. Okay. There we go. So now we got all the variables. And this number is random every time because you don't want the same exact variable per all of this because you can have multiple images now. And now, for the other part, we want to create an empty bitmap. So we want to create 8. So private bitmap generated image 8. So this is empty. So what you want to do is you want to go back into the program and paste. You want to copy that. Then down where it says there's the process of an image in the background. There we go. So now inside of the for one void function, yeah, unsafe. Okay. You want to load up the bitmap like this. Just copy that in. And you want to say 8. And there we go. So now the image is loaded into memory once that line of code is read. And now, to place it on the canvas, you would have to open up a VGA canvas. So this would be somewhere. That's so much code. It could be in the back somewhere. Yeah, right here. So the image should be here. That's where it goes. And instead of 4 or something, say 8. Things right here. Maybe we can just do, let's see, this, so that loads up first, and then this right here, like that. And since it's a 480p image, it's going to be the same resolution of the rest of the operating system itself. It's going to be the max res. You want to set this at 0, 0, so that it starts here and it writes all the way across the screen, like that. And right. So now just say 8. And now let me fix this line of code real quick. Put 0 instead of 1. I just don't want the operating system to freeze. Just go back here and say 0. Like that. Save, you compile. And we got an error because of Combined length of these streams used by the program exceeds allowed amount. It's rather decreases the use of strings. Where's that at? So if I guess that means there's too many of these then. So I'm gonna have to remove one of these. I don't see it. Let's move this. And back here, just do this. Try it again. There we go. So now it works. Should be almost done. Okay. Because it does take a bit of time for this to actually compile. Now we get to see how the image looks. So the operating system. So I actually have to wait for this to okay, here we go. And there we go. There's the image being slowly written on the stream. There you go. And it appears perfectly as well. Colors are right and everything. Now, if this was on the laptop, the colors would have been just absolutely annihilated. And there is a way to actually show that. Let me open up Firefox. And we go to copy. Okay. Copy.sh is a emulator that you can use on your web browser. Or a virtual machine that you can use on your web browser. It's pretty neat. You just need to input the ISO, everything, set the memory size. Can't go infinite with this. But I think it should just work. Say 1.4. Is this an HTTP that I see? Ah, yes. It is missing its encryption. Okay, I don't know why the heck it's blue, but it's blue. Oh yeah, that's right. No keyboard input. And it actually... I forgot about that. It's because it writes for a line, but keyboard doesn't work on the web browser thing, so because of this line right here. But unfortunately, you would need to recompile again for this to actually work. I think when I tried it on the website last time, this actually didn't actually show up. Yeah, this didn't actually show up. Probably because since it's animated now, maybe it actually forced it to work. This is pretty neat. Pretty neat. There we go. So now it's done. Can just reload. Quick reset won't work. You just have to do this. 109, 128. Same as usual. And now, here we go. I think that's the max. Okay. There it is. And now I've removed the need to press a key on the keyboard, so it should just automatically load the image in. And you would be able to see what it actually would look like on actual hardware. And trust me, it doesn't look good. You'll see why in a little bit. Because of this. Oh, look at that. Look at those colors. This is actually a VGA limitation. So if you're running this on actual hardware, in comparison to the virtual machine here, this is really actual hardware. Now there is a way to kind of work around this issue, but it requires a lot of tweaking. What I mean is that you actually have to edit the image itself so that it supports the colors that it's getting. Because since it's got more colors than what it can handle, it completely messes up the palette. So the colors are incorrect because of that. So limiting the colors down to the 8-bit palette would work just fine. Now for the operating system, I'm going to have like an auto detection where it detects if you're running on a virtual machine or if you're running on actual hardware, so that you don't have to see those. You don't have to deal with the limitations of the colors if you're on actual hardware. So it would look like this if you were on a virtual machine. If you're on actual hardware, it won't look like this. It will look better, just not as good. But the virtual machine isn't going to be limited to what the hardware is going to be limited to. It's just for the real hardware. While the virtual machine is going to be remained untouched. So I'm not going to touch any of that. So to fix the colors, you would actually have to open up the image inside your image editor. So Photoshop's actually pretty preferred for this type of thing because it gives you a lot of color space type stuff. So just going to load up really quick. Here we go. So now we have to like change the image up a bit. So you just open up the image. Here. Cool stuff. Okay, here we go. Zoom in. And now, what I'm going to do, go up here, and we're going to make this look kind of ugly for it to actually work. So I think it's index color. Yeah, this is what it is. And color should not be 13, should be 8. I believe. Oh, 9. Okay, that looks god awful. We want to do a different one. So knows that are differing. Okay, that's even worse than 9. So I guess 13 is what we're going to be using. Differing, if without it, looks better. Or is that 100%? No, that's not 100%. Differing of 1 is just plain. Well, this kind of adds some detail, but 50 seems to be balanced. There's a way to make the colors deeper, but you would need to do that before going to this thing. So if you go back to this thing here, if you go to adjustments, then vibrance, you can add deeper colors, just like that. but there is no guarantee that this would work on the system. As it doesn't really support that much color, so it's going to look worse, maybe, but it's still going to be deeper in colors. So you need to change this up to the desired value. And there we go. So like 40, something like that. It looks okay-ish. It works. So you just click OK, and there you go. That's the image that it would be able to show up. So now we save. I'm going to save this as a PNG for now, because Photoshop I don't think can convert to bitmap 24-bit. So we're going to have to do this in the other program, just like this. We'll save as bitmap and all that type of fun stuff. I think transparency does work in the operating system, but you need to have like a chroma color, they call it. Kind of like how green screens work, but you would say like you would set the color to like magenta or something, like pink. So the reason why we did this like this is because instead of this, it should look like this, similar to this now, because of this tweak that we have done. That should fix the issue. Now we do have to actually reconvert our image using the base64 program that I made. We need to see which image is the right image. So this one appears to be the right image. Here we go. So 30,000 each. Again, conversion. And there we go. So now we have our image. Select all, copy. Now we go back and we replace our current image, would be this right here, with the new one. So we just do this, and then boom, like that. Now you would need to do the same for the variable on the bottom. So you just have to do it like this instead, where you just copy this part instead of the entire thing. And we go to this, because this is what the image was. Those are the old variables that have been replaced. I'm copying the new ones, and there we go. So now, yes, we could see if the image works, because on actual hardware, show on screen. This is the actual hardware here. And this is using the basic VGA driver. This is what the color limitations do. So this is using the same differing solution that allow the images to work, because I think I do have a preview somewhere of what happens if it's not. Yeah, okay, I have it. So without the conversion thing, or without Photoshop being used on here, it will look like this instead of this. Well, everything's walking away, but instead of here, let me do it this way. Instead of this, these are comparisons to what the colors really do without differing. Major difference overall, I would say. All right. Now going back here, you can see if the image loads up. Real quick. I'm just going to hop on the Firefox. I'm going to see if there's any difference. Should be. Still not might look as good as it does in Photoshop. It might look a little worse on this, but Yeah, it looks perfectly fine in the virtual machine. Now, the scrolling isn't going to be done in the virtual machine. The images are going to be done instantly. And I will show that afterwards. It's a custom plugin that does that, which is very, very useful for virtual machines because you can actually get mouse to work. Now, for actual hardware, I might not be able to do the mouse. You might have to do a little differently because the screen can only refresh so much. It'd be very, very slow to the point where it'd be like 1 frames a second if you had a mouse on the screen. Then keyboard works perfectly fine though. So the colors are still a little off. I think that's because of the palette was too deep. So that's probably why. So this is useful. This website is useful because I don't have to like keep putting on the actual machine to see this. You can just use it in your web browser and you can see exactly what the machine sees. Which means that you still need to tweak your image a bit to get it to work right. For the instant thing, so it's a little plugin. I have it inside my source folder somewhere. I need to find it. cgui.dll. So this is what can do the cool stuff. So now we just have to, real quick, dependencies, add project reference. It doesn't seem to have any history. So you would have to go manually into the path of where it's at. It would be right here. So you just click OK. And this is something you can get on GitHub. Cosmos as well. Cosmos is how the operating system's made. That is also on GitHub and it's all C#. This is how the entire operating system's made. For VMware, you would have to get that yourself. That's something that you have to get manually. But here it is. This is the assembly, CGUI. This is how you can get the virtual machines to load images instantly. Instead of this, it just would be right there. And I think you can actually up the resolution as well. You can up it to like 4K or something, and it works perfectly fine. And no limitations with colors either. So what we will do is to think about yeah. Let's search this up. We have like a small documentation on this. There we go. Took a very, very small tutorial. And I believe it's over here. And the README. There we go. Alright, there we go, I got it. So I'm going to use that as a reference. Go back. Okay, here we go. So to import it, we can use this. Then do that. Okay. Building and then usage page. Okay, there we go. So we need to create a VGA driver. So that, all right. And going down to the before run, you will set the driver to a new VGA driver. Like this. Driver equals new VGA driver. And we can now create a label or something. Thing that you want to disable is this, canvas equals full screen. You don't want this. Probably want to use rebind. It's like somewhere around, find it. Right here, where this, right, this is never claims mode thing, that does. And this draw point, okay, here it is. Get rid of all this. Alright. I think it shows for images too. It should be very similar. But what you want to do is this. After all the stuff that you add, a picture. Picture. Picture equals new picture. The bitmap itself, that would be going to do image one. That X and Y. That just draws a bitmap, so can I do that? At points 100, 100. Okay. Actually, this was already crossed off. So I think that's actually the starting one. Okay, there we go. 180, 70. And now, after that, picture that update. Alright. You can add effects to it as well, like border color and everything. Now for the usage part. Once again. Okay, you need a new screen. Okay. So screen, I don't think we need this. That goes after. Screen, S equals new screen. Alright, then you would need controls, so S dot control, add picture. I'm actually going to create a label too. Label is text. So like, hello world. Screen S equals new. Okay, I got that. Label. So we want to add a label into the controls here. Check the chat. Alright, got some messages to read. XerStudios nuclear canon? Yes, it is canon. Wonder Corpus, if you swear your messages keep boxed, House of Zer, Maya 1, your thing is still Xmas themed. Oh, I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about the Christmas themed background. Well, I guess as long as there's still snow outside, it's all good. Alright, it's all good. It is not good. Oh, I see. Okay, S. S is the screen. So that should work. As long as you don't press a key, the operating system won't crash. I'm just going to try it out as is. I don't know what it's going to do, but let's see. Thanks for the love and likes. Appreciate it. And now for the fun part, waiting. You know, like I always like to do, I just do that. And I just add some there. Just let it right on the screen like that. Ah, there we go. So now we can go back into the thing. Restarting should do something. Or maybe it won't work because I did something wrong. I think I have to set the resolution of the video. So go back into source here. See the entire cover. It's okay. So I'm gonna go back up. So we got the driver. It's right there. Oh, so that's the driver. Okay, driver got on the screen. Could be because of the picture. They didn't like it. So okay, I'm just gonna use for example. Right. Yeah. We did the this year. Okay. Enter plus. Could be because of canvas. Oh, could be because of this. And then I would need to remove all of this. I'm just going to see if that works. I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to see if there's any conflicts before I let it finish. Doesn't seem like there is at all. It's weird because it didn't even do this either. Oh, it could be because since the driver was made, maybe it's because it has to be down there first. Possibly. Not really sure. Okay, let's try this out. Oh! Surprise, surprise. It worked behind our backs. So I guess it was the driver then. Being placed before all the text. Alright. And all this writes instantly. This doesn't like slowly come in like it does on actual hardware. Now the only big downside to this whole system is running it on the website is incompatible, and running it on actual hardware is incompatible. This is why I would need to actually use the other driver for actual hardware and then this driver for this VMware. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me there. There we go. Sorry about that. sometimes I forgot to change the source of my stream. But yeah, it works. Because this is what happens. I guess it enabled the driver immediately, and then you have to like wait for it to like show up. But you will see it show up instantly. Really click here. Just compile this as it goes on. So there's that. So that's the new stuff. And now what we want it to do is we want it to like not show, or we want it to actually show the text and not hide it. That one the driver. So I guess since the image did work, we didn't really have to worry about any of that. And it's still 32 bits, still the same color thing. No color loss whatsoever. And it runs perfectly. And since it supports double buffering on the video driver, that means you can actually get a mouse to work. So you can actually have an image of a mouse, and you can move it around with the mouse, and it'd be perfect. So let's see if that worked. Yep. So now the text shows up. It's not disabled anymore. And all this happens first before it goes into graphics mode. So you need to type in GUI OS, because it is like an OS inside an OS. So it's like you type it in, you load it in. And this is like the DOS. So because back then you would always have to type in Windows 98 to boot into Windows back then on DOS. While this works perfectly. Anyway. So yeah, there isn't really much else to show for all of this, as that's about it for the operating system. I do have a lot of ideas planned, but they would take quite a bit of time to do. I'm absolutely wore out right now. So, with that said, I guess go back here. So I guess that's the end of the stream here. If you guys like to see more, make sure to subscribe. You can go into the Discord. I have the Discord link in my description if you want to check it out. I do have a second channel, but I might not upload to it at all, because it was going to be related to other content, like more entertainment content, but I haven't really had much time to do that either, because of a Dark Place 2 and everything. But yeah, I guess that's about it for now. Thank you guys for watching the stream, and see you guys next time. All right.